Hurt in an accident and think you can settle quick with an insurance company to get fast money? Well, not so fast. Colorado's best legal expert, Phil Harding, is here every Friday to answer your questions. And today we're continuing our law school for the lay person. That's what we're calling it now, right?
It is.
For the person like me.
Well, for our viewers, we have some of the most knowledgeable viewers here. And
Absolutely.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you give us great information every week. So today, this is a good one. We're calling the lesson Not So Fast. What does that mean?
Well, I've been hearing from a lot of our viewers. And what's happening is they are settling their cases either before their treatment is done, or even worse, they're going out to injury finance companies and borrowing money, which is all but killing their chances of settling a case.
Yeah. So we've talked before about never settling a case before someone is done with that treatment. So what does that mean? Why don't you expand on that?
Well, you know what? Even before we go to that, there is a statute that people don't know about.
Okay.
And I even talk to attorneys and they're like, I've never even heard of that statute. And it says, if you settle a case or if an attorney contacts you within 30 days before, that is voidable. And let's talk about this. I think we've got a graphic really about this statute. It's CRS 12-5-115. And what it says is no person shall engage in solicitation for professional employment, in other words, an attorney, or for any release or covenant not to sue concerning personal injury or wrongful death from an individual with whom the person has no family or prior professional relationship unless the incident for which the employment is sought occurred more than 30 days prior to the solicitation. Sounds confusing, doesn't it?
It does. What does that mean?
All right. Well, let's talk about this and let's really break this down.
Okay.
Because the statute goes on to say that if an attorney seeks you out and talks to you, and again, this is an attorney calling you out of the blue, not you calling an attorney.
Okay.
You can void, which also means cancel that contract. Also, if an insurance company comes to you and settles your case within 30 days of this injury, you can cancel that settlement. And it's so strong. It's unbelievable. And this has been around for 20 years. But it goes on. And we talk about bigger things. And the bigger thing is you never, ever want to settle your case until you are done with treatment. And,
why is that? Explain to me why.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about this. Some people, when they're treating, they're thinking, you know, in a few weeks or a few months, I'm going to settle my case. And then they settle their case, and later they find out they need to have more treatment. They've under-evaluated that case, but they can't get any more money. I mean, isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
So they think they're going to be fine, and it just doesn't work. So, I mean, let's break this down. Let's talk a little bit more about this. There are also companies out there, companies that will go in there and talk about and want to give you money.
Okay.
On the front end, and they're called injury finance companies.
They want to provide you loans?
They want to give you loans. And I got to tell you, if you go out and you get a loan from these injury finance companies before you settle your case, and that's the only time that they give it to you, you will never, ever settle your case. And let me tell you why. First of all, they have high interest rates, number one. Number two, once you are done with treating, you've got to pay back your provider. You have to pay back your health insurance. And now you're like, I'm paying everyone else back. I want some money for pain and suffering. But you've already gotten your money on the front end, right? You borrowed that money and you've got to pay the interest rates. So now all of a sudden, what's happening? The thing that's happening is you're saying, but there's no money for me. And you don't understand that you've got money on the front end. So I want to talk about something else and how to make your claim so that it can work. First of all, there's this stuff that we've talked about before. Do you remember it's called MedPay that's on cars?
Oh yeah, we've talked about that one a lot.
And I've got to tell you, unless you've signed a waiver, you have MedPay on your car insurance. Colorado law requires that you sign a waiver, and if you didn't sign the waiver, you have MedPay. You also have UM/UIM that's on your car. So this MedPay is medical insurance for anything that you're injured on, right, in your car. And it is so good because you don't have to pay that back. Also, the UM/UIM stands for uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. And remember, 1 out of 7 people, 15%, that are driving around don't have insurance these days. And so if they don't have insurance...
So that covers you and then other people, right?
That's
if you
right.
have all of that
in
coverage.
your car, or if they have minimal coverage. Here in Colorado, the minimum coverage is $25,000. If you're in a major accident, that's gone the first night in the ER.
Yeah, absolutely.
So your UM/UIM stacks on top of that. So it's important to contact an attorney as soon as possible to let you know about these legal finances, to look up your rights for MedPay, to make sure that you haven't signed a release that is voidable, that statute that we just read, the CRS, and just so everyone knows, CRS stands for Colorado Revised Statutes. But that's been around and no one knows about it. And that's why our viewers are the most knowledgeable here in this law school for the layperson. I mean, I love it here.
I know, we do get a lot of education. So you've mentioned all these scenarios. How can injured people avoid these traps? Hiring a firm?
Yeah,
Is that really the way?
Well, I think, now remember, everyone, just about every attorney out there, at least on personal injury, is going to give you a free initial consultation.
Okay.
Get in as soon as possible and interview 2 or 3 attorneys. See which one you can communicate well with.
Right.
And then find out what's going on so you don't fall into these traps, so that you don't sign these releases, so that you don't get into these finance companies that you'll never settle the case on. Go talk to an attorney, get a free consultation. It's only going to cost you time, and you know what? It benefits you in the long run.
Yeah, I would hire you any day.
Well, thank
Phil.
you.
You're nice and you educate our viewers.
Well,
That's great.
we do have good viewers out here.
Well, if you have any legal questions for Phil, he wants to hear from you. Just log on to coloradosbest.tv, look for his photo, and click right there, his glossy 8x10 that he has in his office. Well, you can submit your legal questions, and he takes the time to answer them personally, and he might even address your question right here on Colorado's Best. If you would like to contact Phil at his office, Harding & Associates, the number's 303-762